The series opens with Raphael Styx, a police officer whose life is falling apart. His wife is divorcing him because of his bad habits, but he doesn't stop his questionable activities. One evening, Styx meets with his partner in crime, Gino, to collect money to help a gang avoid police raids. After their meeting, Styx witnesses a masked man in red sneakers murdering someone nearby. Styx checks the victim, and realizing he can't help, starts chasing the killer. But the masked man is too fast. He knocks Styx out, shoots him, and throws him into the water. When Styx wakes up on the beach the next morning, he feels something isn't right. There's a large hole in his palm from a gunshot, but it doesn't hurt or itch. At home, he notices a similar hole in his chest and questions if he's even alive. In panic, he rushes to the hospital, where a doctor who knew his father examines him. The doctor is shocked to find that Styx's injuries should be fatal, yet he has no heartbeat. Styx insists he's alive, and the doctor takes tissue samples from his wounds to study further. Annoyed, Styx leaves the hospital. Back home, Styx finds his dog barking at him as if he's a stranger. He discovers a bullet lodged in the hole in his chest and remembers the events from the night before. The doctor calls Styx, asking him to help with research, but Styx ignores the call and reports the murder to his colleagues. When they investigate, they find no evidence or body, leading them to doubt Styx's story due to his reputation as a drunk. Frustrated, Styx hides the bullet in a crack on the bridge and pretends to discover it later. Exhausted, he goes home and is overwhelmed by a strange hunger. He eats the food his wife prepared, but ends up vomiting, alarming his family with his bizarre behavior. Realizing something is terribly wrong, Styx decides to sleep in the living room. When his daughter checks on him, he feels a dark force take over and grips her arm tightly. Thankfully, he regains control and sends her back to bed, asking her not to tell her mother. Styx calls the doctor, explaining he felt like a beast was taking over his body when he hugged his daughter. The doctor advises him to stay quiet about his condition, warning that others might see him as a lab experiment. He takes Styx to a secret lab for observation, but Styx refuses, fearing he'll be used as a test subject. Just then, Styx gets a call from a girl screaming for help and rushes to her location. When he arrives, he finds her overdosed on the floor. Before he can help, the smuggler from the previous night attacks him, angry that a police raid ruined their plans. As the smuggler stabs him, the beast inside Styx fully awakens. He attacks the smuggler, tearing off a chunk of his flesh and eating it, losing all sense of humanity. Afterwards, Styx returns to normal and flees the scene. The next morning, Styx returns to the beach where he wakes up, hoping for answers. He notices the bullet hole in his palm has healed. He laughs, thinking the nightmare is over. That night, however, the masked man reappears, sneaking into an old man's home to plant a strange device in the chandelier. When he removes his mask, it's revealed to be Dr. Stein, suggesting he may not be as trustworthy as Styx believed. The following day, Styx makes a disturbing discovery in the shower. A maggot is wriggling out of the wound on his chest. Shocked and frightened, Styx turns to Dr. Stein for help. Although the wound seemed to be healing, this new problem confuses him. As Stein examines the wound, Styx's stomach growls loudly. Overcome by intense hunger, Styx briefly reveals sharp teeth, but quickly regains control. Stein, unaware of the danger, suggests Styx stay in a cold environment to slow the decay. He gives Styx a bottle of deodorant to cover up the foul smell coming from him. That morning, Styx's wife reacted with disgust at his smell, but Styx didn't realize it. He understood why when he realized he had lost his sense of smell. Stein explains that while Styx's brain is still active, something is draining his cells' energy. As the cells die, the brain starts shutting down non-essential functions like movement and senses. Styx is scared and doesn't care about the science, he just wants to be normal again. The only clue he has is the masked man who shot him. Unbeknownst to Styx, Dr. Stein continues his research after Styx leaves. He analyzes frozen tissue samples and finds that despite Styx being shot, he isn't dead. Stein reveals a hidden tank with the body of the man Styx saw him kill. At the police station, Styx hopes his colleagues will investigate the murder. However, they dismiss his story, finding no evidence at the scene. They even suggest his long-term drinking might have caused hallucinations, or that he might have shot himself. Styx's frustration grows when the bullet he hid in the railing turns out to be worthless. He confronts his colleagues about not being informed about a human smuggling raid, but his superior reveals they had arrested many suspects, none of whom would talk. Stix tries to focus on a key suspect, but is shaken when he sees his wife with another man. Their divorce is already in process due to his drinking, but Stix is devastated. He secretly checks his wife's phone and finds frequent calls to the unknown man. His son's return interrupts him, creating an awkward moment. At dinner, Stix, despite feeling hungry, has no appetite, not realizing his body no longer craves regular food. That night, Stix's hunger leads him to a dark place. He feels the wound on his palm start to decay again, and decides to sleep in the garage, recalling Stein's advice about the cold. He crawls into the fridge to stay cool. When his family leaves the next morning, Stix emerges from the fridge, still hungry and haunted by strange noises. As he heads back to the garage, a man appears behind him, causing Stix to react violently. His beast-like hunger takes over, and he finds himself covered in blood. Horrified by what he has done, he tries to help the mutilated body, but realizes it's beyond saving. He cleans up, wraps the body in plastic, and puts it in the trunk of his car. Just as he's about to leave, his colleague Joachim shows up, almost catching him in the act. Joachim invites Stix to help with the smuggling case investigation, which relieves Stix. Joachim secretly photographs a woman meeting a suspect, while Stix's trunk moves ominously. Opening it, Stix finds that the man he thought was dead has come back to life, just like him. Panicking, Stix grabs a fire extinguisher and strikes the man. Joachim notices nothing unusual as Stix drives off. However, the dull thumping from the trunk continues, forcing Stix to think quickly. He abruptly stops the car, and as Joachim approaches, Stix speeds away, leaving Joachim behind. Stix drives to a deserted dock, waiting for nightfall before opening the trunk again. The man reveals he was hired to kidnap Stix by someone wearing a mask. Stix is stunned to learn that the man he's been searching for is also looking for him. Meanwhile, Dr. Stein receives a message from the kidnapper about the successful mission and plans a meeting on a boat that night. Stix eagerly awaits the masked man on the boat, but soon realizes Stein has set up surveillance to catch him. Discovering the hidden cameras, Stix realizes he has been manipulated all along. Unaware that Dr. Stein is the masked man, Stix walks straight into Stein's trap. The next day, Stix urgently sought out Dr. Stein to understand his strange condition. Stein revealed that a rare virus was found in Stix's samples, which could explain his transformation. Hours after being bitten, Andre experienced a severe hunger. Stein prepared sandwiches for him, but Andre vomited them up. While Stein changed clothes, his daughter sneaked into the lab and accidentally gave Andre the keys. Andre tricked her into thinking they were playing a game, but then tried to attack her. Stein arrived just in time to save her, discovering that Andre had an uncontrollable craving for human flesh, suggesting Stix might be in a similar situation. Stein realized that Stix's wounds healed when he bit someone, likely because the virus in their blood helped him recover. This discovery led Stein to take more blood samples for further testing. Meanwhile, Andre's hunger drove him to demand that Stix find him something to eat. Andre suggested finding a criminal or someone off the streets, but Stix felt guilty and couldn't do it. Stix then visited his colleague, Joachim, who was involved in a smuggling case. They tracked the smuggler's boss's wife to a hideout. She seemed to be looking for something, but left before they could investigate. Later, a woman washing her car discovered it covered in blood, and Dr. Stein was nowhere to be found. This incident puzzled the police, as it was the second such case in a short time. The next night, Stix's condition worsened, his wounds began to rot and smell, and he tried to eat a rat but vomited. Andre was also on the brink of collapse from hunger, but Stein seemed excited about his plans to help. Stein attacked an elderly woman, intending to feed Andre. When Stix returned, he was eager to know what would happen if he refused to eat human flesh. Andre, nearing death, expressed a desire to die at sea. Stix received a call from his boss about Joachim's disappearance. It was discovered that refugees had escaped and were found dead at the port. Joachim had lost contact while investigating. Stix found Joachim unconscious at the scene and tried to wake him. The attacker was Gino, someone Stix had bitten before. Gino, now a powerful and ruthless creature, was responsible for the missing bodies and dead refugees. Gino shot Joachim to demonstrate that only a shot to the brain could kill a mutated human, explaining his helmet. Gino invited Stix to join him, but Stix refused. Gino taunted Stix about eating Joachim and taking Stix's wife. Overcome by hunger and emotions, Stix grabbed Joachim, but then attacked Gino instead. Despite his hunger, Stix managed to regain control and shot at Gino, but the helmet blocked the bullet. Gino escaped, leaving Stix in shock. Stix took Joachim to the hospital. Joachim recovered, but Stix faced difficult questions from his boss. He provided a vague description of the attacker and didn't reveal much. The bodies of the refugees, marked with bites and bullet wounds to the head, were examined. The forensic expert found that the bite marks were human, which alarmed Stix. Joachim noticed that the victims had been shot in the head after they were already dead. The boss decided to keep the information secret and ordered a thorough check of the port before shutting it down. Stix fulfilled Andre's last wish by sinking his body at sea with a heavy iron block. He then faced his own fears as his wounds decayed faster and his vision blurred. The next morning, while talking to his wife, Stix almost lost control, realizing he was struggling to keep his impulses in check. He met Joachim at the dock, but Joachim grew suspicious of Stix's vague answers about the attacker. Their argument escalated with Joachim pushing Stix against the wall. Stix's stomach growled loudly, causing Joachim to investigate. Joachim found Stix lying in a passageway. Stix managed to get up and regain control, worried about how much longer he could last, and hoping Dr. Stein would find a solution soon. Dr. Stein, struggling with the loss of his research subject Andre, decided to use an elderly woman for his next experiment. After sealing her mouth to isolate the virus, he found she had already died. Despite this, Stein placed her body in a large water tank and sought new subjects. Dr. Stein's wife mentioned a young boy she had seen begging on the street. Stein asked her to bring the boy home, claiming he wanted to help. That evening, the boy, grateful for the help, answered Stein's strange questions about his health. After drinking wine given by Stein, the boy felt weak and tired. Stein then sent his wife away and dragged the boy into a room. Meanwhile, Stix dealt with his son's recent stealing. Upset, Stix confronted his son, who blamed Stix for neglecting him and wanted a new father. In a terrifying moment, Stix nearly harmed his son, but was stopped by his wife. A disturbing scene unfolds at a building where a dead man was set up as a security guard. The body went unnoticed for 5 days, until a young girl's access card failed to work. When she sought help from security, she discovered the guard was actually a corpse. Shocked, she immediately called the police. The authorities were stunned, especially the police chief, who recognized the shoes from a case Stix had reported involving a masked killer who had shot through his palm. Initially, people doubted Stix's claims due to his drunken state, but it was now clear he had been right about the masked killer. At Stix's home, his wife was unaware of his whereabouts. Stix had fled in fear after attacking his son and was hiding in an old boat cabin. His body was showing signs of decay from lack of nourishment. When he heard footsteps, he quickly turned off the light and put on a hat to conceal his pale, corpse-like appearance. His boss arrived and showed him a video. The footage revealed that the masked person had deliberately placed the body at the desk, facing the camera to ensure it was discovered. This confirmed Stix's claims and made him a key figure in the investigation. Dr. Stein, watching the news with satisfaction, reviewed surveillance footage of a man he had preserved in formalin. He visited his mother's grave, revealing that the preserved man was his creation. He planned to transform the boy he had deceived into his first mutant creation by injecting him with a virus and waiting for the transformation. Dr. Stein's wife grew suspicious of the boy's sudden disappearance. She noticed something odd when she saw him being taken to the basement and voiced her concerns. Dr. Stein reassured her, but she grew increasingly fearful. Desperate, Stix called Dr. Stein to ask if he had found a way to control his episodes. With no solution in sight, Stix tried to hide his pale appearance with makeup. He then went to the morgue to find some food. The coroner noticed something strange but couldn't pinpoint it. Feeling a bit better, Stix met with Joachim, who revealed that the victim had no family or contacts, making him an easy target for the killer. Joachim wasn't impressed with this discovery. Stix later checked on his wife, who had found a bill from his first hospital visit. She questioned him about it, but Stix couldn't explain, and looked increasingly abnormal. His wife became angry and forbade him from seeing their child unless he managed his anger. This argument made Stix feel ill, and he rushed to the beach to vomit everything he had eaten, only able to keep down fresh food. The coroner had examined the human sculpture and found it had been preserved with chemicals to look fresh. This confirmed Stix's theory that the masked man saw people as art. The police had found 5 such victims, but hadn't identified all of them. In frustration, Stix hacked into the art gallery's security system to loop footage of the sculpture's final moments. Dr. Stein couldn't sleep, fearing his wife had discovered his secret. She had indeed found out when she went to work that night and discovered the boy tied up in the basement. Terrified, she ran away. When Dr. Stein checked, found nothing wrong, and questioned his wife, although she denied being their doctor. Stein tested her and felt reassured that she was not a threat. Meanwhile, Stix panicked when his daughter followed a dog's scent to find him. He struggled against his beastly instincts, yelling at her to leave. Scared by her father's roar, she hesitated. Suddenly, a van arrived. It was Gino, targeting Stix's daughter. The scene shifts to Stix's wife, receiving a call from the school saying their daughter hadn't shown up. Panicking, she rushed to Stix's boat but was knocked out when she arrived. When she woke up, she was tied to a metal frame, and Stix approached her, looking different and terrifying. He didn't explain much, just unbuttoned his shirt to reveal a wound, and then told her the shocking truth. Isabel thought Stix was making excuses to cover up his illness, and demanded to know where their daughter was. Stix, trying to stay calm, let her feel his pulse, showing her that he was cold and lifeless. Isabel was stunned, but their conversation was interrupted by a noise from above. Stix went to check and found Loneliness, who mocked him for not becoming stronger through cannibalism, and for letting his guilt hold him back. Loneliness showed Stix a photo of their kidnapped daughter and threatened him. If Stix didn't ensure the safety of the refugees arriving at the port tonight, his daughter would be eaten. Stix could only sit helplessly, realizing that his and Gino's secrets were about to be exposed. The police were called to a funeral home where they found a body with bite marks in a coffin. This was another victim of Gino, who used this method to make bodies vanish. Surveillance footage revealed that the body was delivered by one of Gino's men, so the police began tracking him down. Stix confessed to his wife about their daughter's disappearance, explaining that he had been feeding information to Gino for money due to a past mistake. Years ago, while chasing a criminal, Stix accidentally shot and injured an innocent girl who now needed expensive medical care. Stix had been helping her mother, who had turned to prostitution to make ends meet. Isabel finally understood why Stix had been so distant and agreed to help him. After clearing the air, Stix freed her from the handcuffs and promised to bring their daughter back safely. Stix then rushed to Anna's place, hoping she might have heard something about Gino. Anna hadn't seen Gino for a while, but right after Stix left, she found their daughter hidden in her place by Gino. Realizing he was being followed by one of Gino's men, Stix stopped his car and entered a dark tunnel. The follower lost sight of him, but Stix silently appeared behind him. Hungry and desperate, Stix was about to attack when the man pulled a gun. Regaining his composure, Stix cleaned the blood off his face with water and picked up the gun the man dropped. Police sirens then approached, and Joachim and his boss arrived. They had tracked the man's phone and found Stix instead. After a brief fight, Stix managed to escape. The man ran back to Gino's hideout, where Gino, realizing what had happened, refused to let him become a mutant like him, and shot him in the head instead. Recovered and feeling stronger, Stix had to follow Gino's orders. With Gino's ship about to dock, Stix joined Joachim for a routine check at the port. When the refugees disembarked, Joachim heard noises and moved forward quietly, but was knocked down by Stix. When Joachim woke up, he saw Gino eating a refugee and tried to shoot him, but missed. Joachim had to flee and hid above a container. From his hiding spot, he overheard Gino and Stix's conversation and realized Gino had no intention of keeping his promise. Filled with anger, Stix was ready to act, but a large police force arrived, giving Gino a chance to escape. The next morning, Stix sought help from Dr. Stein, his last hope. The small amount of flesh he had eaten the night before wasn't enough to sustain him. Stix asked if there was a cure, but Dr. Stein looked defeated. The boy he had killed hadn't come back to life, leaving him without a subject to study. In a shocking move, Dr. Stein offered Stix his neck, urging him to bite. Stix was tempted, but ultimately pushed Dr. Stein ran off, unable to cross that line. Stix then visited his blind father, who was delighted to feel his son's presence. Stix told his father everything: his daughter's kidnapping, his experiences, and his current undead state. Understanding his situation, his father agreed to help, and they left the hospital together. Back at home, Stix's father willingly sacrificed himself, becoming food for Stix. Miraculously, his father was revived and became like Stix. They enjoyed the sunset over the sea together until late at night. Finally, his father took a last, longing look at the world and ended his life to give Stix hope. Now, Stix was determined to face Gino to save his daughter. Meanwhile, Gino was plotting again and called Anna, instructing her to prepare Stix's daughter's belongings. Fearing Gino, Anna dressed the girl and hid her under the bed. Luckily, Stix arrived just in time, preventing Gino from getting any closer. Soon after, Dr. Stein received a call from Stix. Gino arrived at the brothel and sensed something was wrong, but was met by a calm Dr. Stein, who intended to make Gino his next research subject. Later, Stix, in tears, stood outside his home, relieved to have his daughter safely returned by Anna, fulfilling his promise to his wife. Joachim then appeared, revealing that they had found Stix's father's body and knew about his transformation. Stix and Joachim were standing outside Dr. Stein's door. Joachim demanded to know the whole story. Seizing the opportunity, Stix knocked Joachim out cold. When Joachim came to, he was tied up in Dr. Stein's basement, next to a caged Gino. Stix had no intention of harming Joachim. Instead, he recorded a confession on Joachim's phone, detailing his connections with Gino and the benefits he had received. Stix hoped this would relieve his guilt. He handed Joachim a bag of money, enough to get him arrested, and asked for time to find the masked person who had caused his transformation. After freeing Joachim, who seemed to understand Stix's remorse, Joachim revealed that they had found the first sculpture, a woman living alone in the countryside. Dr. Stein showed no interest, unaware that this woman was the cause of Stix's mutation. The woman had lived alone with just an ostrich for company. When the ostrich went mad, likely due to a virus, she locked it up but was bitten while feeding it. To end its suffering, she shot the ostrich. Dr. Stein had been watching her and made her his first target. Dr. Stein placed the woman in a tank where her virus mixed with chemicals, creating a new virus that leaked into the plumbing. Dr. Stein had accidentally dropped a bullet, which later ended up in a Stix accident, complicating his situation. Dr. Stein claimed he wanted to find a cure, but his real goal was to capture the powerful virus, since Stix's virus had failed to affect a boy he experimented on. When he discovered that Gino's body contained the same substance as Stix's, he thought further research was pointless. In an unexpected move, Dr. Stein offered his arm to Gino. Gino realized that Dr. Stein wasn't interested in finding a cure. Ambitious and wanting to rule alone, Gino refused to let Dr. Stein succeed. Nevertheless, Dr. Stein managed to get Gino to explain the mutation process, which involved injecting a special serum and then strangling the subject. Sometimes the mutation happens in minutes, sometimes in days. Dr. Stein realized that his experiment with the boy hadn't failed. He just hadn't waited long enough. Next, Dr. Stein went to an old man's house, planning to use him as a new test subject. However, he had to abandon this plan when an unexpected visitor arrived. Returning home, he found the cage open, Gino gone, and his wife lying on the floor, bitten. Merrick had sneaked into the basement, thinking Gino was just another victim and got attacked by him. Gino appeared behind Dr. Stein, having swallowed the serum and ready to attack. Dr. Stein pulled out his gun, but Gino, now without his helmet, managed to escape. Moments later, Stix arrived. Overcome with grief and anger after losing his wife, Dr. Stein was driven to devise a more ruthless plan. He collected new samples from Stix and promised to find a cure soon. The next day, Anna received a call from her daughter's voice, which made her panic because her daughter was paralyzed and shouldn't be able to speak. They arrived at the port the next morning and discovered the warehouse where Gino kept his food, including Anna's daughter, who was violently attacking a man. Anna and Stix realized too late that they had walked into a trap. Gino had locked them in the warehouse with Anna's mutated daughter, expecting chaos. As Anna's daughter became aggressive again, Stix managed to hold her back. Thanks to Stix's preparations, the police arrived just in time. Gino panicked, trying to escape through the roof, but fell during his attempt. Despite his efforts, Gino was finally captured. Soon after, Stix knocked on Dr. Stein's door with Anna's daughter, hoping for a cure. Unfortunately, Dr. Stein had not developed a cure. He had only isolated the virus from Stix's new sample. As they waited nervously, masked Dr. Stein collapsed. When Stix removed the mask, he was shocked to see Dr. Stein's face, but missed the wicked grin. Anna, heartbroken over her daughter's fate, approached her. Suddenly, 2 gunshots rang out, ending the suffering for both mother and daughter. 2 days later, Stix invited Joachim to a remote location, believing it would be his end since there was no cure and he couldn't continue hurting others. Just as Joachim was about to pull the trigger, there was a knock on a morgue locker elsewhere. The coroner, braving himself, opened it to find Dr. Stein awake and transformed. The coroner, amazed by this new creature, watched in awe as he quickly got devoured. At that moment, Stix also felt a sudden awakening to his new reality, suggesting that Joachim had indeed shot him. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our recap. Like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.